Welcome to Hotspot with me, John Pennington, and Chetan Narula, who's now moved on to Wellington. Morning from me, Chetan. Good evening to you.
It's good night from Wellington, John. It's almost midnight here in Wellington, and so yeah, hellos for all our listeners on Hotspot here.
And what about your first impressions of Wellington? I understand it was a bit of a trek to get there.
Yeah, it was a 9-hour bus journey from Hamilton, and really broke my back actually. I haven't felt like doing anything all day today, but it's a preview day, so quite a lot of work to do. But first impressions, what I thought was a windy city, and let me just say that it's not too windy at all. It's just the weather's picked up towards the evening a little bit of breeze blowing in the evening, but otherwise we haven't seen anything windy. I'm told it's probably best seen when cricket's happening, so probably will be tomorrow. Let's see how it goes.
Okay, well, let's start off by having a look back at the fourth one-day international in Hamilton, India, posting 278 for 5, a decent total, but it wasn't a match-winning one, of course, because New Zealand went on to win by 7 wickets, scoring 280 for 3. Ross Taylor with a century and a couple of other useful contributions as well. And that, of course, means that New Zealand have moved into an unassailable 3-0 series lead, and India are searching for their first win on tour. It's been a little while since they won an ODI game. Chetan, just give us your review of that game.
Well, yes, John. Before that match at Auckland, Dhoni had talked about the fact that if his batsmen bat first, they need 325, 340 runs, irrespective of conditions, to just to give their bowlers some sort of a chance of winning the match, of defending the total. He doesn't. You can't really blame him at the moment, but the Indian batting is currently not in form, and then you go first after winning the toss. That's actually fine, but then so many changes. Virat Kohli opening, Rahane at 3, Raidu at 4, Stuart Binney beside, slam bang approach, and then he's not even given a bat at all. Ashwin and Jadeja promoted ahead of him. Quite a lot of changes. Dhawan gone. Rohit Sharma makes very slow starts, but Shikhar Dhawan is not really in form, but that's how it used to be balanced when they're playing in subcontinent. Now Dhawan is not in form. Rohit Sharma is making slow starts, so that bang-on approach has also gone from top of the order. So a lot of problems there in the Indian batting order. It's not just about the bowling, but they had to do something different. They made many changes. Obviously, Suresh Raina dropped. It's the first time I was looking at some stats. The first time he dropped after 2011 World Cup. That's first time in 75 ODIs. That's a long rope. He just averages 30 in those, around 34, which is not a bad average, but it's just that he's not done too well in the last 1 year. Especially he was tried at number 4. It just really mixed up his mind, his sensibilities, or his cricket. He doesn't really have a game to bat at number 4. And I don't really know what made MS Dhoni think that you promote Suresh Raina at number 4. Number 4, it's just really messed up totally his game, and he's not been able to recover since. Probably might be dropped after this ODI series. It will be very interesting when team for the ODIs. The Asia Cup is selected shortly, probably in the next couple of weeks. So very interesting to see what happens there. But yeah, coming back to the match, 217 was never going to be enough. What they needed was early wickets. Yes, New Zealand got off to a flyer, but India came back with quick wickets. But after that, I thought, they were 10 overs that Jadeja and Ashwin bowled. Only 30 runs came. Then Dhoni had this logic, that he wanted his spinners to be there for the end, and if they'll need big shots, the spinners might be able to work their magic. But when he saw that his medium paces were leaking runs, he should have immediately brought on his spinners back and not waited till the end. And I just wonder what would have happened if if he had bowled Jadeja and Ashwin 10 overs each for 20 overs. You're looking at 10 overs, 30 runs, another 10 overs, another 30 runs, perhaps taking even some risks. So you're looking at 20 overs, 60 runs, maybe a wicket or two, and that shifts the balance towards India when instead you had 10 overs for 30 runs bowled by the spinners, then 10 overs for 70 runs, so basically 100 runs in 20 overs. So that's where the match was lost, and of course no wickets, or in fact just the 1 wicket of Kane Williamson, but that also came in 34th or 35th over. So basically India lost the match again in those middle overs. It's become such a big problem for India, and there is no insight at the moment. And the one time where the spinners actually looked like taking a wicket, MS Dhoni took them off.
Okay, now you sort of touched there on the team changes that India made. I mean, quite a few changes there. A new opening partnership, Stuart Binney coming into the side. I was sort of slightly surprised because we don't always see India make a lot of changes, particularly to their batting line. What did you make of them?
Can you repeat the question, John?
Yep, I was just asking about the team changes that India made, because I was a little surprised that they went with as I think they dropped Raina, dropped Dhawan, brought in Binney, a completely different opening combination. What did you make of the changes they made?
Like I said, it's too many changes for a must-win game. I mean, it took me back to the 2011 World Cup final where Sri Lanka made 4 changes to their playing 11 from the semi-final, the quarter-final, and even at that time, at the toss, I had wondered, it's a must-win game, it's a World Cup final. You cannot make 4 changes to your playing 11 for a World Cup final. This match wasn't really a World Cup final. It was more of a must-win game in an obscure bilateral series, but it was a must-win game nevertheless. But you're talking about 4 changes. You're talking about dropping Dhawan. You're talking about dropping Raina. You're talking about moving Virat Kohli at number 2 opening spot, basically Rahane at number 3, bringing in Stuart Binney, who's not even going to bat. You're changing roles all the way through. I mean, it was a completely different batting lineup that we are used to, completely different batting lineup that those batsmen are used to. I mean, confidence is one thing. Virat Kohli was confident that he could open the batting, but confidence can sometimes be just be swagger or confidence. He didn't really look like. He was kept quiet in the beginning overs and then played a very uncharacteristic pull shot to get out. So, I mean, maybe he'll be successful as an opener, but we say that it's a short-term experiment. But the big point is they try to change too many things at one time and pay the price.
The other side of the coin, I suppose, New Zealand, after the game, Brendan McCullum was full of praise for the way that his senior players had responded and stepping up. Ross Taylor, obviously, with a century, but his bowlers as well. And I suppose if India are going to be making changes, bringing in new players, Dhoni must really want his senior players, himself, I suppose now Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, in a sense, on our senior players. They've got to step up as well, but particularly with the bowling as well, because he's been quite critical of the way that India have bowled in this series too.
Well, John, I mean, you cannot have your senior players scoring runs all the time. I mean, obviously, New Zealand have had a very consistent patch, consistent run. Ross Taylor, Kane Williamson, really in form at the moment. The Indian bowling is not really up to scratch. But at the same time, Virat Kohli and MS Dhoni also have scored runs consistently. And I'm not just talking about this series, I'm also talking about the South Africa series, because that's been 2 overseas tours and now it's been 7 ODIs that India have not really won a match. So these 2 batsmen have scored runs. But again, when your batsmen are out of form, then the dependency on the senior players increases that much. And somebody like a Rohit Sharma, he's thrown away so many starts. It's like he's thrown away 3 starts or 4 starts in 7 ODIs. It's really a wonder how how somebody's not really told him off. Then Shikhar Dhawan, the way he's gotten out, he's not got. Leaves a lot to be desired. Suresh Raina, again, obviously not really converting any of his 30s or 20s and 30s. To big scores. Number 4 has been a failure, and I think that's been a big difference in the way the number 4s have performed for India. You've had Yuvraj Singh, who was out of form. You have Ajinkya Rahane, who's just settling in. He's just being given a long rope now. Just bat in the middle order. You have a long rope. Just be successful there. He's looked good on and off, but he's still a little patchy and he's not really been consistent. So he'll take some time settling down there. It's not been an easy series for him. But the point of fact is, look at New Zealand's number 4, Ross Taylor. He's really cut down his aggressive shots. He knows the more that he needs to bat on, and he hopes that he can survive till the end, till after the 40th over, and when he can play those big shots. That's what he did in the last match. So, but otherwise, he knows his role. He needs to buckle down and play the spin bowling, carry New Zealand through the middle overs, and obviously Kane Williamson and Martin Guptill being in such terrific form obviously helped him. So, fundamental difference between the 2 sides, the way the number 4s have batted. And it's just the batting has completely revolved around them. Virat Kohli and MS Dhoni scoring runs, but you need fulcrum in the batting order for the batting to revolve around. That's been missing for India ever since the season started. It was not noticeable at home because the top 3 were scoring runs, ever since he's gotten out of India and the opposition has gotten the better of him, there's just no backbone in the batting lineup anymore.
And in your match point analysis, which we've just loaded on Cricket World, you picked out Ross Taylor as your player of the day for his century. I think in one of our previous chats you talked about how he's a kind of player who's got all the shots, but he's very good at building in innings. He sort of starts off in the low gears, and then when it really matters, he can turn it on. Just talk about how well he played.
Absolutely, that's what he's been trying to do. I mean, he had come for a press conference and he had talked about the fact that uh, he's looking to stay and build partnerships and change. He bats, and that's what the captain has also told him. Just bat those middle overs out, take the team with wickets in hand, maybe 5, 6, 7 wickets in hand till the 35th over. So you just start launching from the second power play, and then take it to the last 10 overs. And a couple of times he scored a 50 and he just got out and he just hoped that he could be there in the end. So it's been one really big progression for Ross Taylor, and you just can see how a batsman matures when he's a predominantly leg side player, but he's also started playing through the offside, and he's cut down on his slot sweep shot. So that sort of mix comes in when maturity sets in a batsman, and obviously he's coming up to that age now as well when the batsman really matures. But the way he's handled the Indian spinners, the way he's handled responsibility, like I said, he was a standout player in the last match, of course.
Now, as we sort of start to look ahead to the game at Wellington, just tell us about the press conferences you've been attending and what sort of, what the players that have been put in front of you have sort of said looking ahead.
Well, Raja came for the Indian press conference and talked about not really panicking at the moment and just trying to do things right, because he said, like it's been said so many times, that they're really close to performing up to the potential. It's just not happening for them together at one time. From the net practice, he just got a couple of things. Maybe Shikhar Dhawan might be back because it was a collective batting failure, so they don't really want to change too many things. Maybe Spud Binny might be out. Maybe Shikhar Dhawan comes back in his place. Ambati Raidu might still play in the middle order because it doesn't make sense to just play him for one game and then again sit out and play Suresh Raina. They might bring in Amit Mishra for R. Ashwin just to see what he could have done possibly. The series is lost now, and maybe Ishwar Pandey might just be given a run in place of Varun Aaron. So just trying to blood him in and see how he goes with his pace and his lining in. So probably those changes for them. Nathan McCullum came in and obviously talked about the fact that New Zealand will be going for a 4-0 margin of victory, and how that will be a fantastic event, and how they thought winning was fantastic, but now they have the opportunity to go 4-0, and he stressed upon the consistency bit quite a bit. That what matters right now, that New Zealand performed consistently. They've done well against South Africa, they've done well against England, they've done well now against India, and of course the World Cup is going to be at home. So they know the conditions, they're really investing everything into the new ODI rules. Like I said, Ross Taylor batting, saving wickets with Kane Williamson and Martin Guptill. That is a strategy to counter the new ODI rules. According to New Zealand, I think that's a masterful plan. It's worked very, very well. Obviously, when it doesn't work well, there'll be people to blow holes into it as well. But at the moment, it's working very well right now. You need informed batsmen to make your strategies work, and they're working hard. They're grinding. They're getting runs. They're looking forward to tomorrow's game, and they want to get a 4-0 result. But Corey Anderson and Tim Southee are carrying niggles, so they might sit out. So might be maybe a couple of changes here and there for New Zealand. They do have a couple of days off ahead of the Test series, so nothing too much to worry for them.
And what sort of things, or how do you expect the sort of pitch to behave tomorrow, Chetan? And when you've sort of given us a pitch report, if you have one, do you dare make any predictions ahead of the game?
Well, no, John. Today the practice was held at Basin Reserve, so I haven't really seen the pitch at the Westpac Stadium where the ODI will be. But it's a drop-in pitch, and drop-in pitches are known to behave. They're known to have a little mind of their own. Maybe there's a little if it's anything like the drop-in pitch at Auckland, maybe it'll have a little more boost. It's again a rugby stadium, so maybe it's circular. It's a rugby stadium, but circular, so maybe some weird angles at some particular boundaries. Don't really know. I haven't been to the stadium, but Really want India to win, get one game in, get some confidence going ahead of the Test series, but at the moment things are really looking bleak for them. And yeah, maybe a 3-1 scoreline because maybe New Zealand will just turn themselves off for the moment.
Everything certainly does seem to be going in New Zealand's favour, doesn't it? So, that will be all for this particular Cricket World hotspot. We'll no doubt catch up again, reviewing the whole series and then beginning to look ahead to the Test series. So for now, Chetan, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you to our listeners for joining in.
And indeed, thank you very much for watching. I do hope you can join us again here on Cricket World. And for now, it is goodbye.